will just be to Justin, but just generally speaking, what are some things that you think you can take away from the last 8 games before this one, the big winning streak?
Yeah, well, I think for us was a lot of those games we found a way to hang around and found a way to come back and get a win. A lot of those games we were down in the third, and it speaks volume to the leadership and everybody on the team for sticking with it, sticking to the game plan, and ultimately getting the job done. So I think the biggest thing is realize that when we play the right way and decide that we want to play the right way within our system, we're a really, really good team.
And Justin, what do you think was the biggest thing that led to the different outcome tonight?
Well, I think it was a little bit of a slower start than we would have liked. I mean, they came out strong. We knew that they were going to. We beat them the first 3 games in their home arena, so we knew that there was going to be a pushback coming, and obviously a little bit of fatigue comes into it. We've been on the road for 11 days and 7 games, but ultimately I think it was just a little bit of a slower start for us, and that ended up costing us.
And now, Rob, you've been in and out of the lineup sort of at times this year. And how have you found that process of staying sharp in that sort of situation?
It's part of being a pro. It doesn't really matter if your name's on the lineup sheet. You still have to come to the rink and practice and help your teammates that are in the lineup that night, and then expect that they do the same whenever you're in the lineup and they're out. So it doesn't really change my day-to-day process. It's just the way it is.
I'm curious to hear your take on a couple of the new defensemen who have come over to the Heat this year. And the first guy who I would want to just talk about is the guy who you actually took his spot in tonight's lineup. But he's sort of been a regular on the Heat's lineup on the back end this year. What have you seen from Colton Poolman in his first year after coming to Stockton?
Steady. That's like a word that I would definitely use to describe him. He's been an absolute rock back there. Doesn't make any mistakes, makes simple plays when they need to be made, can make the nice play when it needs to be made, and he's just been a rock back there for us so far.
And then the other guy who I would want to talk to you about is a guy who, Rob, I think watching you play, I think you're a guy who plays with some offensive instincts, and another guy who does that is CJ Lurby, who I see a lot of on the power play. And do you think that your 2 games sort of have some parallels to them?
Yeah, definitely. Like even when I'm sitting in the stands, sometimes I watch and I see him like throw a little head fake on the point or a stick wave and get some guy to bite. It's impressive to watch, and I try to practice, but implement that stuff in my game. And he's a fun player, good to watch, really should be.
Yeah. Okay. And then going back to Justin, Justin, with a streak like this coming to an end, like it did tonight, and you guys coming back home to play Laval on the 18th, do you think that you're going to have a little bit of extra motivation in your game when Laval comes to town?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it was obviously at the start of the road trip. If anyone would have asked us if we would be happy with 7 out of 8 wins, I think we would all definitely take it. So definitely as a group, we got some confidence on this road trip. We, I think, sent a little bit of a message to the leagues that we obviously weren't happy dropping those first 2 games in Toronto and went on a little run since. So we have a great group of guys. Obviously, we are able, when we play within the system, to do some good things. So I think obviously it's tough with the streak coming to an end, but it was a fun ride, and obviously we were ready to get back to it against Laval, and we preach on not losing 2 games in a row, so it's going to be a good test for us. They're a good team, but obviously looking forward to a little bit of rest beforehand, and then we'll be ready to go.
And Justin, the guy who I'm curious about hearing your take on, guy who sort of came out of nowhere for me, but has come into the top 6, since Connor Zary went back to Kamloops and has quite impressed me. What has your take on Giorgio Estefan been since he's come into the lineup?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you watch him in practice, you can see the skills there. He's got a very, very strong offensive skill set, and the competes there. It was really just a matter of him getting an opportunity in the lineup. And he's come in and he's done a good job with that. He's creating chances and playing within the system. And obviously he played a lot tonight in the top 6 and created some chances. So with a guy like that, it's just making sure that he gets some opportunity to play in an offensive role. And I think things will start clicking for him.
And my final question, going back to Rob, And just touching, I suppose, on the Estefan topic a little bit, but this guy who's had a lot of time in the ECHL and sort of is just only getting his first shot in the AHL really on a consistent basis right now. And Rob, you've played a little bit in the ECHL, I think around 40, 50 games. And, just what is your take on the biggest differences between the two leagues in terms of the style of play and the quality of play?
It's just the speed and playmaking ability of the guys. Actually, not even the playmaking ability. The Coast is a really good league, and those guys can play, man. Like it's no joke down there. But the speed, probably guys are just a little bit faster. Plays just get made a little bit faster, and if you're out of position, you kind of get exposed. And that, I'd say that's a huge difference. I actually did play against Giorgio when he was in the.
Oh yeah.
New. I just want to chip in and say, since this 8-game win streak started, our goalies have been off the charts, really, really good. Credit to Spearsy and Sparksy and Zaggy. They've been doing an unreal job. And Wolfie, while he was here, they're as a D man, I want to give credit to all 4 of those guys. They've been doing it.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it.